Hey, what's going on? It's the Body Punch Podcast, and my name is Naz. Let's talk about Makhachev versus Green. What an amazing story for this UFC fight night. Islam Makhachev versus Green. Islam Makhachev was supposed to fight Beneil Dariush, and Green has stepped in for this last-minute replacement about 10 days notice. And for Bobby Green, the win streak that he's on now, or is going to be on maybe, and for him to step in, and him also talking about how he was on vacation and how he was not expecting this level of fight to pop into his radar, and for him to accept it when a lot of people rumored to not take it. Dan Hooker talked about when he fought Islam Makhachev that nobody wanted to fight him, and he was one of the people that had to step up and fight the Phenom, who is coming out of the same camp as Khabib Nurmagomedov. He is an AKA fighter who has great ties with Khabib and his family. Khabib Nurmagomedov's late father also coached him, and very much a part of that family, like I said. And he is the next up-and-coming king at 155. Many people are talking about that, how he is Khabib Nurmagomedov with higher level striking and just Khabib at 2.0. And for Bobby Green, after coming off his last win, which was at UFC 271, February 12th, against Nasrat, and that amazing win, that unanimous decision win where he put a beat down on Nasrat in Houston, Texas, for him to come out of that fight and to face someone like Islam Makhachev. He's going through the ringer, he's going through the fire. This fight is going to be amazing, is going to be a great opportunity for Bobby Green, who has been in the mixed martial arts business for a very long time, and this is going to be his first UFC fight night, main card, main headlining fight ever throughout his whole career, which is saying something. He has had a super long career, fights spanning from the early 2000s, and in total having around 42 matches, 29 wins, 12 losses. Bobby Green is the veteran of veterans, and for him to get an opportunity against a fighter like Islam Makhachev, who is just destroying his competition at the age of 30, is spectacular. And like I said at the beginning, just a great story for Bobby Green. For Bobby Green to come in here and maybe even defeat the rising phenom in Islam Makhachev. Funny enough, he defeated Ali Quinta, who got the great opportunity to face Khabib when his opponent dropped out. So Bobby Green defeated Ali Quinta, and then now he's the one who's going to face the superstar Dagestani in Islam Makhachev. Now, let's look at both of their careers. Like I said before, Bobby Green has had a number of fights inside and outside of the organization, and 42 matches in total. But Islam Makhachev, who is a little bit newer in his career, has almost half of those in 22 matches, 21 wins, 1 loss. The 1 loss coming at UFC 192, October 15th. And that was when he got KO'd. And after that, he went on a tear at 155, defeating the likes of Drew Dober, Thiago Moises, Dan Hooker. if you look at his overall record, this is one thing that I noticed when, doing the review before this podcast, is the depth of competition, which Dan Hooker even mentioned when he fought him. Islam Makhachev does not have that depth in competition. If you look through the 21 wins he's had, it hasn't been against, really top level competition, or it hasn't been against people who you could recognize right away. But fights like Drew Dober, where he defeated him with an arm in triangle, defeating Thiago with a rear naked choke, and that gruesome loss that Dan Hooker had against Islam Makhachev with the Kimura submission, where the fight only lasted the first round, and to be defeated by Islam Makhachev in Abu Dhabi was extremely difficult for Dan Hooker. And you gotta think about it, is that Dan Hooker, if you put him at the list, if you're trying to make a list of top strikers in that 155-pound division, with the length, with the conditioning, and the practice that he has with Israel Adesanya, Dan Hooker is at the top of that list of top strikers. And Islam Makhachev, even though it was really quick, he was able to take Dan Hooker to the ground and submit him as, super quick, and always advancing in position, and a little bit different than Khabib, where Khabib would smother you, and the way that Islam is able to work in his striking, I think it's spectacular. The wrestler who could strike like that, he's not one of the, he's not going to be a boxing Golden Gloves champion or anything anytime soon, but the way that Islam is able to use his wrestling chained with his striking to take down the likes of Dan Hooker and to submit him the way that he did. When you watch that match, you can hear even the commentators, DC was saying, hey, is he looking for a Kimura? And everybody knew what he was looking for. Everybody had an idea. Even Dan Hooker, who's the biggest expert in the room right there, he knew what Islam was looking for, and he was still able to do it. That's the toughest part about these fighters that are coming from that Khabib Nurmagomedov camp, is that you know exactly what they're going to do. You know what the game plan is. The game plan is to take you down, smother you, and hit you with ground and pound shots, and they will not let you up by any means necessary. And for them to have that game plan and to reuse it and reuse it and reuse it every single time they fight someone, it seems like they're thinking the same thing, that all I have to do is just not let this person take me to the ground. And guess what happens? Every single time, except for once in Islam Makhachev's young career, he takes his opponent down, or is able to even strike with his opponents and defeat them. Everybody knows the game plan. That's the most dangerous thing. You got people like that are specialists, like a Damian Maia or whatever, a Wonderboy Thompson, for example. You know what they're going to do. And if they're still able to do it to the competition that they're facing, it's just even more special. The specialists in mixed martial arts are just, they dedicate their whole life to their one craft, and it is something super special. Okay, let's look at Bobby Green's record and his past opponents. And like I said, Bobby Green has been in this game for such a long time. His first fight being in 2008, and his last fight being a spectacular unanimous decision win against Nasrat, where he boxed him up. It looked like at some points he didn't even get touched. Walking out of the cage with a little bit less than a couple bruises. Doing that, defeating the likes of Ala Quinta. I was calling him in some of the previous podcasts the COVID king of the UFC. He was one of those fighters that you could always rely on to show up during this COVID era of the UFC and to be ready to fight. That was the special part. So let's look at his last couple wins and losses. Clay Guida comes to mind in 2020. Bobby Green defeated Clay Guida, which I think a lot of people thought that this match would be the sign for one of these fighters to slow down and to stop, and it would be the last hurrah of their career. We got two of these veterans going against each other, but that's not what happened. Bobby Green defeated Clay Guida in unanimous decision win, and then went on to face one of the fighters who I really admire and I look forward to watching him fight, which is groovy Lando Venata. To defeat someone like him who has obviously shown some things that he might need to work on, but to defeat someone like Lando the way that he did, unanimous decision win, it just shows that you're at that next level to defeat someone like him. I put groovy Lando Venata, I give him all the respect in the world. Not that I don't give any respect to some fighters, but I put him in a different category. And I think a lot of people don't put him in that category. They just think past him. But the way that Lando Venata is able to strike in the UFC, he's just so calm in there, and to pick apart his opponents with the kicks that he throws and the boxing that he has, and for Bobby Green to take him out the way that he did was really special. After that fight, beating Al, then after that losing in 2020 to Thiago Moises, then another loss to Rafael Fiziev in 2021, then going on to defeat Ala Quinta. That one was almost turning into a major grudge match. Ala Quinta was coming back from a big layoff, and he thought that Bobby Green would be the perfect one to come back to and maybe even make a major statement out of him. And Bobby Green did not let that happen. It's just that Bobby Green, the way that he's able to use his defense and his offense mixed together when it comes to his boxing, it just sets him apart. Some people have called him one of the greater boxers in this division, and you know why they're saying this. The way that he was able to pick apart the likes of Ala Quinta and Nasrat. Nasrat had this little crack in his shell, in his defense, and Bobby Green was able to attack that with his uppercuts, and just his straight jabs were just going through the guard of Nasrat. The same thing with Ala Quinta. I think at some points it looked like Raging Al was just confused. He was like, how are these shots hitting me? What's going on? And I think that's when Bobby Green pulled ahead and defeated Ala Quinta. Ala Quinta coming back, and it was obviously in New York, and New York fighters, I feel so bad for them because it just feels like every time they fight in New York, or anybody in the greater New York area fights in New York City, it's just a tough time for them. And Ala Quinta got taken out by TKO punches. Then he faced Nasrat, Bobby did, at UFC 271, which was just a little while ago in Houston, Texas. It was a 3-round affair, and Bobby Green came out of that fight with a little bit of bruises, and he said, all right, to Islam Makhachev on a couple days' notice. This is going to be a special fight. Nasrat, it looked like Bobby Green was just put in his place just to get taken out, and he did not accept that. He for sure did not accept that position. Bobby Green took out Nasrat by using his spectacular boxing, especially with the defense. And people talk about how he's one of the only fighters in MMA that uses the Philly shell. And I think it's a lot of the trunk movement that he uses, Bobby Green does, and the way that he's able to evade shots without even using the guard. It's Bobby Green is really special, and especially to have this renaissance in the later stages of his career now is just fun to see. And it's always fun to have these last minute replacements come in, because you don't know if it's going to be a good thing or a bad thing for either one of these fighters. You know what? Some people might say that it's a bad thing for Bobby Green. But hey, listen, Islam Makhachev was training for Beneil Dariush, who's a world-class jiu-jitsu fighter. Now he's facing this boxer in Bobby Green, and this great striker. Other fights that are on this card, UFC Fight Night, is Misha Serkinov, who's always fun to watch. That's going to be a great middleweight bout. And then other ones that we should watch out for, I think that's, you got a good couple fights here, but nobody super notable. We do have UFC 272 coming down, and I think that this is a great appetizer for that card. Obviously, you got to look out for this main event, but and check out the co-main event. A lot of the other fighters, maybe this card could have had a couple extra pieces put into it, but hey, when you have fights every week, at some points, there's going to be a couple that are slow, and there's going to be a couple that you're going to be like, hey, what can you do about it? I mean, there's only a certain amount of spots that are in the UFC, so you got to give them a break. But Islam Makhachev versus Bobby Green going to be a great one, especially with this couple days notice for Bobby Green to step in the way that he is. It's going to be super interesting to see the striking versus the wrestling, one of the great battles in MMA. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. If you can like, subscribe, hit the bell notification on YouTube. You can also listen to the podcast on the different podcast platforms. Please give a like and a rating over there as well. I really appreciate you listening. Have fun watching the fights, and let me know in the comments what you think about these fights. I really appreciate it. Thank you for listening. This has been the Body Punch Podcast. My name is Naz. Bye.